All right. So we're back in this episode, and this time we have lesson 8, and the last thing on the list is lesson 8 practice, which is going to be the next one, which we put this episode into play. And I'm sorry, my computer's uploading the previous episode right now, so it may be a little bit loud. So let's fix the mic. But anyways, let's learn lesson 8, how to input parameters in arguments. We need to know how the arguments work. We need to know how to input parameters. So let's learn how to define parameters in a function and get the result that we need. Input is information added to a program and used by code to make changes. The function examples given in the previous lesson didn't need any input. Like, you could tell they didn't need any input because these parentheses were when we called the function, they were blank. So there was no input really needed there. And that's what this is saying right here. Now, parameters. We need to know about parameters. You can define the input a function needs by adding a parameter to the function signature. A parameter is a constant that is declared in the function signature between the parentheses. When a parameter is set, you can use that parameter in the body of the function. So that's really cool. This is making me think of how Blueprints is set up if you've used Unreal Engine. We'll see that in a second. The syntax for a function that includes a parameter, it looks like this. So here's the function name, and now inside the parentheses is the parameter name, and the parameter is set up just like a constant. So it's got a type, and then here's the type of the function, and here's the code block, what the function does. So in the following example, coins per mousetrap is now a parameter for the function by mousetrap. So let's look at it. They got variable, that's coins, and it's an integer that's 500. And here's a function called by mousetrap, and there's a parameter in that function that's called coins per mousetrap, and it's an integer. And this whole function will give us no return, but it will run what's underneath it. So what's underneath it is set coins equal to coins minus coins per mousetrap. And then it's going to print coins. So what the code is saying is exactly what we just explained. So you have a variable called coins with an integer that's starting at 500. The function called by mousetrap, it takes a parameter of coins per mousetrap. However, you don't want the function to return a value, so the type is void. Now, arguments. These are something that we have to learn now too. So when you call a function that expects parameters, you got to assign values to the parameters the same way you would assign values to constants. So these assigned values for functions, they're called arguments to the function. And that's what arguments are. So to call by mousetrap function, you do so by adding the argument inside the parentheses. There's a few ways to do this. So for example, this is one way, two ways, three ways. Okay. You could use by mousetrap and then put the argument coins per mousetrap and then give it like make it equals 10, which mimics how you would define the parameters for a function. So it's like, that's why I know that it equals 10. You know what I'm saying? The 10 is an argument to the function and changes the value of the result. So this would change the value of the result of the whole function, right? This is the argument to the function. And another way is literals from lesson 2 and 3. You just put a literal value, meaning like a actual integer in there of the same type as the parameter. It doesn't have to be an integer. It's the same type as the parameter, but in this example, it's an integer. And then the third way is to use a previously declared variable or constant as your argument. You can call the function using different values for the argument to get different results. And this way, you can use variables or constants that you've already set up to put them as your argument, which is sick. So they've showed you the different ways below. Here's the first way where they've got it, and they've got the coins per mousetrap equaling 10 right here, and the argument right here is 10, and that can change, and it'll change the whole function. Another way is like buy mousetrap, and then they've got a literal value right here, and that's the second way they were talking about. And then the third way they were talking about is coins per mousetrap. Buy mousetrap down here. They're calling coins per mousetrap. They're calling the constant that they set up already. So there's three ways that you can put these arguments into your functions. Multiple parameters. You can define as many parameters to the function as you want, as long as you separate the parameters with commas. The syntax for a function with two or more parameters looks like this: name, parameter, and then the type of that parameter, and then comma, and then another parameter, the type of that parameter, and then outside the parentheses is the type of the whole function, and then underneath that obviously is the code block for the function. So when you call the function, you'll need to separate the arguments with commas again, which means it mimics the way that you define the parameters in the functions. So we're kind of used to how this works. It's just getting more advanced. To me, it reminds me when you go from calculus 1 to calculus 2, or algebra 1 to algebra 2, or whatever maths you do. But anyways, the last thing that we need to learn from this chapter is that a parameter is a constant that's declared in the function signature. It's inside the parentheses, okay? An argument is the value assigned to the constant used in the parameter for that function, okay? You have to separate multiple parameters in a single function with commas. There's only three things we needed to learn from here. So hopefully you got that. Parameters, arguments, it may take you to read over this 2 or 3 times for it to click, or maybe you get it right away, but it's kind of right. It's right here on the documentation. Hopefully I went over it good enough for you to understand it. In the next one, we're just going to put what this is into practice, and after that we're going to be ready to build our own Fortnite game and control a lot of the stuff that's in it. So I think I'm gonna try to do that on stream or on live or something with y'all, you know what I'm saying, because I think it'll be fun. I already know Unreal Engine, so I could teach y'all a lot how to do a lot in there. So we'll see. But thank you for joining me in this one. I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.